So, My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 368 has been officially released. And in this video, we are going to be discussing the second user's quirk that was revealed in this chapter and what it does and what it means for the story moving forward. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my manga discussion for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 368. And there's some stuff that we need to talk about when it comes to this chapter, specifically when it comes to the second user of One For All's quirk, which we learn in this chapter, and we have a good understanding of what it can do. So in this video, I'm going to go into detail on what this new quirk can do and how Deku may be able to use it in the future. But before we actually do that, I'd like to talk about a few differences in the chapter between the official and unofficial translations. For example, when it comes to the title of this chapter, a difference comes from how the chapters are titled. In the unofficial translations, the title of the chapter is One For All Unleashed, but in the official translation, it's titled Rev Up One For All. And I think the official translation really ties more into what this chapter is, and more specifically, what it means for the second user's quirk. And then another minor difference that I actually brought up in the actual review proper, and another difference that I want to bring up, involves when Shigaraki declares that he is going to attack Deku and retake One For All. And how in the unofficial translation, All For One inside of Shigaraki is saying that he wants his brother's quirk back. But in the official translation, he just says that he wants One For All back. And this is a significant difference because what implies that he may be going after One For All because it is the quirk that belonged to his brother. So there may be other speculations that you can make with that. But with the official translation, it just ties more into it being just very straightforward and that he just wants the quirk of One For All and that it has nothing to really do with his brother. Now, it doesn't mean that this is something that he actually has inside of him that we will see later on, but in this moment, that is not necessarily the case. So with that, let's dive more into the new quirk of the second user that was revealed in this chapter. Because in this chapter, we finally get the major reveal of the final quirk inside of One For All that Deku is able to use. And it was hinted at what this quirk was possibly able to do many chapters back, but now it's finally revealed to us, and the name of this quirk is Transmission. And transmission allows the user to change the speed at which things accelerate through space. And for what we see in this chapter, this is probably something that is able to affect both Deku as well as Shigaraki. And how when it comes to the user, that they are able to choose different gears which were able to increase the speed of the target depending on what gear they're in. And we've gotten at least 4 gears in this chapter. Now, there could potentially be more gears that we can look into, but I think that probably at this moment, we're only going to have these 4 gears, which are first gear, second gear, third gear, and top gear. And from what we're understanding about what the second user told Deku, this quirk and how it is right now is very different from what it was in the past. And something else that we can say is that it may require certain activation requirements to actually use it. And this comes from the idea that when we first see Deku using this quirk and how he moves his hand in a motion as if he's working a stick shift in a manual car. Which, you know, would make sense with the name of the quirk being Transmission, as well as tying into the changes in gears. And even in the chapter, we see that Deku has a new super move, which he calls Shift Gear Overdrive, where it's revealed that most likely than not, he's increasing the speed of his own body to a point of going beyond 100% and going to 120%. Which means that at this moment, he is outputting potentially more power than even All Might himself has done, even if we consider it in his prime how strong he was. Deku is probably stronger, or at the very least faster, than All Might in his prime. And if we compare Shigaraki right now to being comparable to All Might in his prime, yeah, Deku is significantly faster at the very least than Shigaraki, who was barely able to keep up with him. And we even get a little bit more on how fast Deku is because he's able to literally punch Shigaraki so hard and so fast that you can see him flying into the air before you can actually hear it. You know what that means? That Deku is literally faster in this form using the new quirk of Transmission. He is faster than the speed of sound when using this quirk. And that is just interesting to think about. And what's even more great about this is that it kind of ties into what we've been expecting from these quirks inside of Deku. That the quirks on their own are not necessarily good quirks. And my idea is that the only reason why transmission is as good as it is because it's accumulated power inside of One For All. And that the power that this quirk has in conjunction with One For All is so significantly greater that it even confused and dumbfounded All For One inside of Shigaraki, who knows about the quirk, but was still shocked by how powerful he was and how fast Deku is. So this just shows that when it comes to these quirks, on their own, they're not that great, but in conjunction with One For All, they become extremely powerful. And once again, this is a sort of utility when it comes to Deku, because this isn't something that on its own can be a finisher or be like a special move, but has to work in conjunction with One For All and other quirks. Even as we've seen with the new move in this chapter of Black Chain, it is only as powerful as it is because of the combination of multiple quirks. And this just ties into the idea that the reasoning why Deku has all of these quirks is so that he can make himself stronger by using sort of weaker quirks in conjunction with each other to make them stronger. So it's just very good to see that even though this quirk may seem broken on the onset, it's actually not that broken, and that most likely than not, it's as powerful as it is because of One For All. But there is something that was brought up in this chapter that is very interesting, and it's the idea that Deku has to finish this fight in 5 minutes or the world is doomed. Now, what could this entail? Well, there's a few ways we can take it. One, Deku's body can only handle this ability for 5 minutes before he's completely incapacitated. A second possibility is that maybe this quirk is similar to Ida's ultimate move, Recipro Burst, or even Recipro Turbo, where after he's used it for that period of time, it can prevent him from actually moving and disable his ability to use this quirk for a certain amount of time. And that it could disable his ability to use this quirk for a certain amount of time, which is the only way that Deku can really compare to Shigaraki in this state. Or after the 5 minutes, he won't be able to use shift gear for an extended amount of time. So I think that at the very least, I'm liking more of the second idea, that there is a drawback when it comes to him using transmission, and that doing so could either heavily damage the quirk itself to the point where it can't be used or will take a while to actually regain that ability, or it's just one of the negative drawbacks of the quirk itself, that if it doesn't get finished within the first 5 minutes, then Deku may not be able to use it with enough time to actually defeat Shigaraki. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that after the 5 minutes are up, that it takes like an hour or 2 hours for him to regain that transmission, or that maybe the transmission is damaged after that 5 minute period, so it needs time to repair. Deku wouldn't have enough time to allow it to repair, because either during that time, he's going to die, Shigaraki's going to get away, or Shigaraki's going to take One For All from him. And that after the 5 minutes, he won't be able to use it, which means that he probably will not have the power to be able to take down Shigaraki. So this pretty much means that if Deku doesn't kill Shigaraki or defeat Shigaraki within this 5 minutes, it's very, very likely that he is going to lose this fight, and that he may not be able to use this move or to use his quirk for an extended amount of time, which is going to be very detrimental. So either Deku's going to lose this fight and Shigaraki's going to win, or Deku's going to lose this fight, but my prediction is he's going to have a high possibility of winning the fight, but right before he lands the finishing blow, either the quirk itself times out, or right at the moment it's about to time out, Deku hesitates because he doesn't want to kill Shigaraki, but he wants to save him, and then some type of negative drawback comes out and it severely hurts him, or he doesn't deliver a fatal blow on Shigaraki and Shigaraki is able to live. So there's a lot that we can really do with transmission as a quirk from Deku, if not increasing his own speed or decreasing the speed of Shigaraki. Because we have no concrete idea on whether or not in this chapter he is either controlling his own speed, controlling the speed of Shigaraki, or doing both simultaneously. Because it doesn't say that it increases the speed of the user or the target, but that it changes the speed, which means it could probably be both a positive increase or a negative decrease. So there's still like plenty of things that we just don't know about the quirk, but this is all that we know for right now. So yeah, that's pretty much all we can really say about transmission right now. In the future, within the next chapter or two, we'll probably get more information about transmission and how it exactly works and what is going on in this fight. And potentially we're going to be getting the negative drawback of transmission and what that could possibly be and how it's going to be affecting the story in the later future. So that's all I really wanted to discuss in this video right now. Hopefully you enjoyed this discussion, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you enjoyed this chapter. And if you did, why not leave a like on the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!